Spice is really, really beautiful for the fact that the teachers are stressed a lot of times on supplies. The schools may not have what they need, and when we started, it was what can the teachers, what can they get or ask for that we could help them with for the students to help them better learn, help the teachers better teach something, because every teacher has a different set of what they need.
Clayton and I, of course, we met in Tulsa 36 years ago. We got married, moved to Arkansas, lived in Hinesville on the White River, beautiful. Had our first child there, Audrey, and then we moved back home. Grandchildren make a big difference. So we came home, had 2 more children, Bailey and Wesley, and we've been here ever since. Moved back on his home place on Snake Creek. All my kids were brought up in the Locust Grove public schools. Very proud being a pirate, like all the rest of us. They were all involved in sports, baseball, softball, basketball, ag, of course. Some of the best times of our lives are, raising. Okay, see, this is why it's hard for me.
Oh, that's good. That's so good.
It does go by fast, and that one saying, slow down and smell the roses, because you are so active, you fail to really appreciate it. Of course, the memories are great, and staying very busy was, obviously we both worked, me and Clayton, raising the kids. Being self-employed helped a lot because I was able to take off if he wasn't, and we made most everything. And yeah, the ag part, it does kind of get to me because that's where his roots are, obviously, and mine too now. But yeah, it's important. Your schools are very important, and that's why the Spice comes to play for me. Not only at the beginning was it a lot of fun with a lot of fun people, but the teachers are our future, or they raise our future and help make them think. I was not involved in the beginning, but soon my friends were being active into the Spice organization, and so that was an obvious reason because it was a lot of fun. And we did have a lot of fun, and we tried to think of ways to make money for the teachers, but the people and the kids. You always go back to the kids, because without our teachers being at a level and having things that they need to produce good students, I mean that's kind of, I believe. I honestly, like I said, I can't talk from the beginning or the initiation of the Spice program, but when I came on, it was about helping those teachers get, just really basic things sometimes for their class.
I've lived in Locust Grove for my entire life, and this community has put food on my table my entire life because my parents had a business here, my husband has a business here. We're extremely vested in the community and the type of adults that we're going to output from our educational system. So we are very vested in that, and it's my 20th year to teach. It's crazy. And I teach 8th grade science. I did teach 7th grade science, and I've moved up to 8th grade. And I love this town, everything about it. The first time I got a Spice grant, I taught kindergarten. And it actually helped buy some resources for the Literacy First program that we had at that time, and bought me some manipulatives and books and things like that to help kids that needed help just even understanding the alphabet and vowel sounds and things like that. And I was so excited to get that grant. I didn't think that I would. I was actually shocked when I got it, but I was so excited to get it because I didn't have to buy those resources out of my pocket, and I was new to teaching at that time, and it was a real time saver for me. It helped me not have to go out and just pick up the things here and there to make these games or to do this. it bought me a collection of things that was already done. So, and everyone talked about the time that it was going to be time for you to write your SPICE grant and when it was going to be due. And it was something you talked about at school. Well, are you writing a grant this year? Or who's writing your letter? Or what are you writing for? Or if you had another teacher down the hall that was writing for something similar to you, you would team up and write one together. So that way you could share those resources and then they wasn't out both sets of funds, or you had more likelihood of getting that grant. So it was a good program. It's been a really good program.
I went through lunch to meet a person who worked for the school, and I was running for school board. She wanted to tell me some of the things that were going on that was hurtful to her, and I thought, okay, if I get on there, then I'll talk to them about it, or I can go talk to them now about it, which they were pretty much set on what they have done. While I was paying, I overheard a lady make a comment. Her name's Jean Fody, a wonderful lady, elderly, lived out on the lake. And Jean was talking to another lady, and they were discussing the pie from Partners in Education from Pryor. And they said, I wonder if Locust Grove has a foundation that the person could donate to. So I told Jean, I overheard her, I sat down and talked to her and the lady she was talking to, and I said, I'm running for school board, but I said, we will have a foundation. I said, whether I get elected or not, and I told her that's running, and I said, I will get one organized, get it started, and we'll go from there and see how it goes. I said, because it's all about the kids. You've got to, the kids is what's the important thing. And sometimes people lose sight of that because, they think it's for other reasons. But the whole part about schools and the foundation is for the kids, enhancing their education.
I am in 3rd grade and I'm 8 years old. My name is Claire, and I have 2 classes. I have a math class and a reading class, and my homeroom is Miss Swear, and my morning class is Miss Laird. And we get to do science and math in Miss Laird's class, and we get to do language, reading, and spelling in Miss Swear's class. Once we were going to her little class because we go there for reading and stuff, and she goes, today we're going to be playing with our new dodgeballs, and since our old ones got all ripped up because they're styrofoam, and so now we have rubber ones, and that's all I know so far. Really excited. I'm just glad that we have new stuff, and all of our stuff is broken, so we're just glad to have new stuff. We get to play one-on-one basketball sometimes, and we have 4 teams, and we'll split the team up, and we get a team captain, and we'll just pick our team what we want, and then we'll go against each other and who can get done faster. And then sometimes we play dodgeball, and then we play an actual game of basketball, and then we play soccer outside, and baseball and softball sometimes, and then we play football sometimes, and then sometimes we get to play in the when we're outside, we come back in, and then we get to do whatever we want in the little gym there.
We would have, because Jerry Fleming was involved, and that was some fun times, but she always had some really good ideas. We had a carnival one year. We'd have a Halloween type. I think the thing that we tried to do each year was change the theme, and so it would make it interesting and new every year. And then we just turned to the auction, which I felt like was a good way. That kind of went on for several years, but we had some really good donations come in, and people working. It takes a lot of people to get a good auction going, obviously. So the donations, going back to teachers, is the main thing. And like I say, really for whatever reason, it didn't really matter to me. If there was a need, then I felt if we had the money, that's what it needed to be used for. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jerry Fleming. So my involvement with the Locust Grove community, I'm from there. I grew up there, went to high school there, lived there for really the majority of my life. And while I don't live there anymore, when people ask me where I'm from, I tell them Locust Grove. And I live in Noble, but I'm from Locust Grove. so I was involved with the Chamber of Commerce. We had a business there. I was involved with the Roundup Club. So I was pretty involved with the community during my, when I lived there as an adult. And my involvement with Spice I'm not really sure how it started. I started going to some board meetings and trying to figure out how to raise money and what to do with it. So I helped with the first fundraiser, which we called A Taste of the World. I think Terry Kern and Terry Black and I organized it. Got donations from all over, tried to find as many items as we could to auction off. And then we encouraged the residents to bring desserts, international dessert. We wanted it to truly be a taste of the world. And so we encouraged people to bring desserts from other countries. And we sold, I think, plates, and people could get a taste of all the different desserts. And then we had a contest. They could vote on their favorite. And Natasha Kofelt actually won. So the Teacher of the Year also had the best dessert one year. In fact, the very first year. And we raised about $7,000. It was pretty exciting to have that money. And we did it really quickly. We kind of threw it together really fast, and it was exciting to see what we could do. The second year we did an evening in Paris, which was kind of fun. And we did a take on Paris, Texas instead of Paris, France, but we had the menu all in French, and we had barbecue and French bread and French cut green beans, and encouraged people to bring French desserts, and again awarded the best dessert. We sometimes did People's Choice. Sometimes we'd have folks come in, like our local representatives come in and select the winner. And we did that for several years and have the golden rolling pin that got passed around for several years. So I helped mostly with the fundraisers, and then going through the grant applications and figuring out who we're going to fund, and trying to come up with ways to recognize teachers about, they're a spiced up classroom. I think we did for a while. We were spiced up because they got a grant. And really, why I wanted to contribute to Spice is really to help provide things for the teachers. There isn't always money available in the school budget to buy the things that they want, and sometimes even the things that they need. And it's not necessarily the school's fault. There's just not enough money. And so it was exciting to be able to offer grants, to give teachers some things so that they could really be innovative in how they teach. It sets up the students for success. When the teachers are successful, the teachers have what they need, then they can help set up those students for success as well. And ultimately, that's the goal. That's why you want to be involved, is you want to give those teachers the tools that they need to help those students, and the students the tools that they need to be successful.
Oh, it's extremely uplifting to know that you have an organization that you could write a grant for to get things that you normally wouldn't be able to get, especially when those funds are allocated to different things, and there's not an allocated set amount to buy this resource that would be something that had to be replenished every year, or something that wasn't in like a boxed kit. Or it's extremely helpful to know that you can write a grant for something exciting you want to do, or a field trip that you wanted to take that kids normally wouldn't get to go on, or a resource that you could use that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, and then be able to utilize that in your classroom.
Well, hopefully the same sense of giving back. Everybody does different things, and whatever, way you can contribute, is your own. I think it gives a sense of pride, knowing that all this money is being brought together for your teachers to help teach your children, your grandchildren, hopefully your great-grandchildren. And, we're a great community when we come together. It's wonderful. And I just think the pride is probably the best, in being proud of what you're doing and who you are.
Just donate a little bit of your time, once a month or once a year, or however you need to do, to ask maybe for a donation. You might know somebody, you might be able to bake a pie, you might come up with some ideas of some fundraisers. You might decide, why don't Spice put on a talent show? Or why don't they put on an art contest? you know, and why they have there, and when they're awarding and judging, then they could, you know, maybe pass out a few grants at the end of the talent show, or you know, just different ways to come up other than having an auction once a year, maybe once or 2 or 3 times a year, having something that, you know, would help bring funds into SPICE so you could give more grants out.
One year we did a carnival theme, like a county fair, and I can remember I dressed up as Madame Sassafras and fooled a few people. They didn't know who I was, so that was always kind of fun. I was the fortune teller, and that was great. But you know, we had corn dogs and turkey legs, and you know, tried to do some really fun things, and we got a lot of community involvement, and we got quite a few grants from teachers. The other thing that the fundraisers did was a lot of the teachers would provide baskets every year, and their classmates would, their class would get together and do a basket. The parents would bring things, and then we'd auction those baskets off. So it was a lot of fun. We had Ron Cunningham as our auctioneer, and he always keeps things fun and lively. And then why do I think it's important to have education foundations, especially in a rural area? I think it's really important, again, because a lot of the rural schools don't have a huge tax base in order to provide them additional funds. So when you think about some of the schools that have some kind of industry, like an industrial park or a power plant that adds to their tax base, they're going to have more funds. And a lot of rural schools in Oklahoma don't have that opportunity. So providing extra funds for them is really important, and having a foundation and getting the residents involved, to me, is important, because it shows that they support the school, they support the teachers, that they're willing to give a little extra for their kids to have a great education. And I think that's what ultimately it's all about, is if we can't support our teachers and make sure they have what they need, then how can we expect our students to be successful? And really, that's what we all want. We want our kids to be successful in whatever it is that they choose to do.